Welcome everybody to our evening chats with Ray
Ria?
and the little Ray. As you notice, the little Ray's on vacation today. She's
Yeah,
taking a day.
she went to the sky up high. Yeah, right there, up there.
Yeah, she's taking a break today. Since we're already talking about a different topic, and that's diving. So, Rio, you've been diving quite a bit lately, and you're in the process of getting your certification, which is awesome. I really can't wait until you get your certification and you're actually certified, and we can go diving together at any given time. But the actual journey of you getting certified, it's actually been pretty cool to see. From basically from my side and looking in, how are you liking the whole certification process?
So I would say that I would like it like on stars like 1 through 5. I would say a 4.
Okay.
And the missing star is because of all the creatures that I'm scared of.
You're discovering that there's actual creatures in there, which is it's kind of cool if you take the time to just be there in the moment and look at your surroundings. It's very cool to see all the different creatures, and you at first you're scared, and mind you, like the first times that I started diving, it was all scary until I actually started doing it more and more, and I actually slowed time down, enjoyed the dive, and got a little bit better at diving. I think as you get better and as you tend to slow things down and get comfortable with your buoyancy and your control and confidence, I think you're going to enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah. All that I've seen so far are like fishes that look like piranhas, but they're not really piranhas, and a turtle doing a backflip. And yeah, I said a backflip. Really
How
a
did the
backflip.
turtle did a backflip?
So it was just floating around, and then it saw us, and then he did like that.
That's awesome. I saw a turtle on Rainbow River. I saw a turtle when we were in Rainbow River. You kind of do a drift dive. So drift dive, when you're diving a drift dive, basically you jump off a boat and there's a current. So you don't have to do a lot of the swimming. Basically, you don't swim like this. You don't have to do a lot of the swimming. And you don't have to propel yourself because the drive takes you. So imagine just being in a underwater lazy river,
Yeah,
like wee.
yeah, and then you're just like, wow, I see fishes everywhere.
Exactly. So in that dive, I was going this way, and out of nowhere, there's like a bunch of seaweed in Rainbow River, and parts of it, there's a bunch of seaweed. And then all I saw was to the left, and I saw this cool little turtle just going out. It's really cool. Like, I love seeing turtles. Uh, so, in your certification process, how are you doing with the actual online course? Like, where are you in the online course? It's a very, very long course.
Okay, so I'm at like 60%. I get like, so on long days and my free days, I get 20%. I got 2 long days, so I had 20%, which is 40%, and then like 5 days that, and then 5 more days of doing 20%. Then I got 60%.
Yeah. So that was last weekend. You did it in between soccer games. So we went to your game, which it was all the way in Sanford, I believe, and then we had to go to Titusville to go to Little Ray's game, and there was like a 4 or 5 hour period in between. So you were hustling to get like at least 20% off of that course in that time. We're in the car. You're trying to just listening to the courses and getting
Yeah,
things done.
yeah. One time, while I was sitting in the car, I was listening to a video. It was like 10 minutes long or 20 minutes long, and I fell asleep at the half of it. And then he had to do my course.
Yeah, I had to
Yeah, that
explain.
part.
Yeah, I
He
had to
even had
explain
trouble
to you.
doing it.
I had to explain to you the science bit of it because they started talking about, and especially in that course, the part of the course they were talking about the different mixtures and the different types of mixtures that you would have and how it would affect your body. I think that's too much for you. So essentially, I explained to you what was the question and what was the context around it. Because even for a person that's taken the course at the time, if they're just going through the motions and they're not necessarily too like savvy in science, they're not gonna necessarily like fully understand it until the instructor lays it out in plain English for them. Carl actually does a really good job. Um, he does an amazing job translating like the actual boring course or the long course for his students. He actually turns it into just plain English, and allows people to understand it. So you being smaller and not necessarily seeing Carl on a day-to-day basis, I think it was good for me to, hey, here's what it means, so that you can take those quizzes. But you've been doing good on the quizzes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been doing really good.
Yeah, so like that time I got 5 in a row that I got correct. Like just questions. And he got one wrong and I picked a different answer for it and I got it right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And he already scuba dived, so
Yeah, I'm
I'm
telling you,
smarter than him.
it's all about making it in English, plain English. But you're doing really good on the quizzes. I'm actually very impressed because you're following suit with the information that you're seeing and within the answers. You're doing a really good job. So we're the goal on it is for us to take it really slow, like you go through your chapters, you understand it, and then you take the quiz. So hopefully in the near future we're gonna be able to get that done. Um, but yeah, go ahead.
I just need 40%. I think it's going to take me 2 years. It is.
No, it's
gonna
you're gonna
yes.
be done pretty soon. It's gonna be there. We're gonna fit it in. However, aside from the lessons and stuff, how would you say that the in-person classes have been when you were with the UCF students? Like, how was that? Did you make any friends?
Okay, so the first class I have, so Carl is his friend, so I've been to his house and he has horses, so I ride them. So they know each other. So he went into his class, Carl's class. So then I joined his class. We did it and then we went into the pool the second day. And then after that I made a friend because she was my buddy. You always need a buddy when scuba diving. If you do not have a buddy, you're gonna die. Good
That's great.
advice by Riel. Okay, so she was my buddy and she took care of me. So then we were doing laps around the pool on the deep ends, like very deep ends. And then we did like, it was like a depth drop, is just for scuba diving. So what you have to do, wait, let me take off my headphones for a second. Okay, so what you have to do, you sit on it.
You might have to do it in the mic. So describe it in the mic. That way they can listen. Because I don't know if that's gonna translate correctly.
Yeah, I'm like one of those quizzes.
Visual
Quizzes.
persons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just describe it. You can basically use your fingers too.
Yes. So this is the pull part, okay? So you have to take one leg, and then you hold your mask and your regulator. We're gonna show you the regulator in a second, and then you just drop off into the water.
Yep.
It's like a death drop.
Yeah.
A
So
death drop.
that death drop, you're gonna sound like Doctor Evil from Austin Powers, the laser. But anyway, the death drop that you essentially say is a giant stride. So what you were practicing is one of the basic core fundamental skills that you need to have in order to either get off of a boat or get off of a different surface that you might have a couple inches or a couple feet in order to get there. So with the giant stride, what you were saying is that when you're doing the giant stride, you would essentially hold on to your mask and your reg, right? And then you take a big step and then whee, you go down.
And then you die. You die.
It is scary. Like the first time that you're doing the giant stride and you have all the equipment on top of you, it can be scary because the amount of weight that you have within your BCD, it may be wet at the time, it may be dry at the time, but then you have to take into consideration that you have your BCD on top of you, you have your regulator, you have your mask, you have the weights depending on your body type and your original weight. You're gonna have a little bit more weight, and then you have your tank on top of it. And then to top it all off, you're walking like a penguin because you essentially have your flippers. So you're like
Yeah,
trying to
so
go over there, try not to fall. It
yeah,
could be scary.
so the quiz said that you have to go side by side. So you have to do this. Like that. So Liz.
Yeah, so you had to wobble.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
to wobble.
Yeah,
Like a
that's
penguin.
actually it's a very very fun skill. It can be scary. When you
I
do
almost fell at the store. I tried to walk with it and then I almost fell.
when we were buying the flippers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the flippers, the fins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. So you had the class with the UCF students. You had the class at the actual UCF pool. That was kind of cool. Um, how did you? It was a little bit of a challenge because the BCD wasn't necessarily fitting all the way.
So the BCD wouldn't fit because they did not have a small enough size. They had a short size. They had like for me, I'm small and I'm really skinny. So it's like really big for me. Even if you inflate it, it's still big. So I had to go through that and then I had to like hold it while I was holding onto my reg. Well, I like holding onto my reg. So I had to swim all the way across from a pool that's like 15 feet. 15 feet or 20 feet?
I think it was like 10 to 15. I think it was more 10, but it's a
Yeah,
deep,
and then I had to swim all over the way to the deep end and then do laps.
yeah. Yeah, I think that although your BCD was a lot bigger and you had to suffer with it, which I commend you for not giving up because any other person, and I've seen adults that get so scared because things are not going the right way. They get so scared that they don't want to do it. So I'm very proud of you. I commend you for, struggling through that and putting through, pulling through, getting it done. And although it wasn't perfect, you gave it another chance. We went and got you a BCD that actually fit, and it was actually, a little bit better, and you gave it your all. But the fact that you did not quit and you pushed further, although you were in a predicament where it wasn't necessarily the best, it's awesome. Like you rocked.
And the fact that I did a death drop in it, that's
A
insane.
giant stride, not a death drop.
I'm calling it a death drop because it is a death drop.
The laser.
Yeah, so the water's like this and then the pool's like this. A death drop. You have to take a big step.
Okay.
A death drop.
Okay. So after you did you're in the process of doing your actual course. You're in the process, and hopefully you're gonna be done in the near future. We're very very thankful that Carl is on board with you taking your time for understanding it and get your skills on par, right? Now, like you did the pool, you did the courses, you're in the process of doing outside actual diving. You dove in nature in the Lake Denton. That's your favorite.
Oh, yeah. It's warm. That's where I saw the turtle doing a backflip. It's warm, and my buddy Kat, she was trying to capture fishes with me. They were tiny little fish that were like this big and this long. Yeah, with my slipper.
So what do you like about the Denton? So you dove it already twice. The first time you did pretty good. How did you like the very very first time that you dove it? How did you feel? Did you feel comfortable? Were you scared? Like, what were some of the challenges and some of the good stuff that you did on your first dive at the Denton?
So at the Denton, we didn't do any courses like the second one. So I was like just streaming through. I had to stop a lot of times because it was my first time scuba diving in something else that was not a pool. And my scuba dive gear actually fit me, so I was trying to get used to it because it's a bit small and it has to like stretch out. So after I did that, then I went with the group, then I paused with Kat and him. We're going to call him P. So I stopped with P and Kat, and then we went back to the group. We stopped, we went back, and then Kat went with the group. I stopped with P every single time. Every single time.
Yeah, we had to we had to cut it early because of the buoyancy, right? Like when you were doing it at the pool, you had a bigger BCD and it just wasn't fitting right. You were fighting with it. Now, when you're at the actual, like one of the checkout dives and you're trying to do it with the gear that actually fits, you're still trying to develop those skills that you were trying to develop at the pool. Although you did the pool sessions and you were able to complete those, it was completely different with doing it with the smaller BCD. And it's your first time. Again, 100%. A lot of people get so scared on their either the pool, their first dives, just the overall atmosphere, and they quit. So although we had to, stop and go up, stop and go up, and then at some point we had to call it. I think why did we have to call it? Was it your ear?
Mm, It was my ear, and because Carl, the instructor, he's like the main instructor, he's your teacher.
Mm-hmm.
He said that we have to stay with him, but keep on
Yes.
stopping.
Yep.
So then we had to go back. So I took off my gear, and then I just swam around.
Yeah, that is
I gave
correct.
P all of my gear. He had to work. I did nothing.
Yeah, that is correct. So as the instructor and the dive master that you have the responsibilities to stay within the group, right? Once you start, getting to a point where you can't keep up with the group, the responsibility is to, hey, let's go call it, let's go to the shore, and then they can proceed with the classes. So that's what we did, and you managed to actually swim and enjoy the Lake Denton. Lake Denton is amazing. I don't know if you dive or if you don't dive and you're getting certified. Lake Denton is an amazing location to go. It's an amazing location to dive as a diver because you can get up to, I think it's up to 27 feet or probably 30 at some points. And there's a lot of different obstacle courses that you could do. There's like, I think there was.
Okay, so there was a. So he said there is tanks, like just tanks. They're at the bottom, so we did a circle around them. There's is a table. We did a table. We went under the table, and then I believe he said that there was a castle. I think we went around the castle too. And then I think there was a fourth one, but that was at the very end. But I didn't do any of
It's
that.
the ring, the PVC rings. There's some
Oh,
PVC
oh
rings.
yeah, we did go through that, but we didn't actually like go through. We had to follow the team.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of different obstacles in the Lake Denton. The cool thing about the Lake Denton, I don't know if you noticed, but when you go into the lake, it's cool because it's like going to a beach and it just get progresses to get deeper. But they actually have it marked. So there's like ropes on the bottom of the lake where it literally directs you to where you need to go. So you can go down deep, then make a right, the rope will take you and it will guide you. So essentially you will never get lost at the lake because all you got to do is just follow the rope and you'll be able to do the whole course and then come back, which is very very cool for beginners, very very cool for recreational divers, to just dive and do it. So if you've never done the Lake Denton in Florida, you should definitely do it. That The second dive that you did amazing. Like you were able to do, I think it was like 30 to 35 minutes,
No, no,
almost
no, no,
40.
no, no, no. I did 27 feet. We went through 20 minutes, I believe, and I saw a turtle do a backflip. A turtle do a backflip is the main thing that is important about this whole entire video. A turtle doing backflip. You are gonna name this video "Turtle Doing Backflip."
Turtle been doing backflip. I didn't see no turtle doing no backflip.
Well, I saw a turtle do a backflip. If you didn't record the video, then that's your fault.
So, second dive. What do you think that you mastered so far? Like, what do you think you feel confident in diving, and what do you think that you still have to work through? And then I'll let you know what I see that you're doing good, and what do I think that you need to focus on.
Being fast, seeing a turtle doing a backflip, and then what I'm not good at doing is being buoyant, which is buoyant means that I'm not doing like this. My head first, my head at looking at the bottom, and then just doing that. I'm doing this.
I'm impressed. That's a really good assessment. You are pretty awesome at seeing turtles doing backflips,
Yeah.
which I've never seen one do a backflip. But you hit the nail on the target. So essentially, yes, what you're currently working on the skill right now, you're trying to get dominant, and again, you're a newbie, is to get buoyant. Like it's so cool just to be able to do that. And the second that you master that, Rio, um it's gonna be amazing, and you're doing a good job. There's a video, and I can probably show you. I could probably put it right now. I took a couple videos of you trying to get master the buoyancy. There's a period of time that you're right next to me in that dive, and I'm here and you're right here, and you can see that you kind of have it down, and you're getting your posture and you're getting your the buoyancy, trying to get that down. And then there's another one where you're going under the table. There's like a, I think it's a table.
Yeah, it's a table with bowling balls, not bowling balls. What do you call that game where you like, you have a stick and then you put the ball, like shoot it with the
Uh,
stick on a table?
billiard, pool, like
Yeah, pool. Yeah, it was a pool table. I did this.
yeah, yeah. The table. So and I'll show it. It's gonna be playing right now. But essentially, when what you were doing, this is the table, and then you were like trying to get it down. You were trying to, so you were like you were losing buoyancy, gaining buoyancy, losing buoyancy. But I mean, you weren't scared of going through it. So again, kudo points for that because you did not give up.
I have 10,000 points now.
Yeah. So essentially, you were able to do the course. I think you did up to 30. I think it was 30 minutes because you have to. It's 10 minutes going down, 10 minutes going to the side. You have to do the course, and then by the time that we were already almost done to the course, and then we were about to do the rescue when we had to call it because of your ear. And why did we have to call it because of your ear?
Okay, so I did not know how to spit. You just spit. So I did not know that. So I went to the top to spit. And then I went back down. What I did not know was that I have to go slowly. I have to do this. I want this. Imagine this is the surface. Imagine this is the bottom. My leg is the bottom. Instead of doing this, I did this.
Yeah, you would be surprised how many of the new divers do that. So you have the crab, and then you have a pinch. You would be surprised how many people, they teach you that in the class, that you have to go slow in order to descend, unless you're like already a advanced diver and you're doing like a negative, negative entry. But you do have to be careful, especially if you've already been down, and that's where the issue came. You were already at 27 feet, underwater. You were navigating, you were fine, and then out of nowhere, you're like, I have to spit. I have this thing in my mouth. I have to spit. I didn't know what to do. You went up. I followed you, and then we checked you out. Everything was good, and then we were trying to go down, and then when you were trying to go down, you went all the way down.
Me. My finger is me.
Yep. So
That was a death drop.
we have to work on that. That's going to be another skill that you're going to have to work. You have to be conscious that if you're already diving and you're underwater, two things. You can't just go high, like just raise yourself. You got to go slow, go up.
Two of those can kill you. If you go all the way up, which I did this, I did like medium. If I did it like really fast, I could have killed myself. That's one of the dangers of scuba diving. Cut that. You guys need to scuba dive, okay? Cut that. Okay. And then I'm not going to tell you the other part because you guys need to scuba dive. Okay, you can go on.
Okay. But yes, there are dangers involved with scuba diving. There are dangers involved with having too much of a chemical or a gas in your body. Your lungs react a certain type of way. So again, it's a very safe sport if you're doing it correctly, if you're abiding by the rules. But you can have any accidents, Rio. You have to make sure that they know they need to know. You can't just be like, oh no, it's safe. Just do it.
No, he's insane. Okay, he took an insane pill. Okay, okay.
Yes.
He's just making these things up. Yeah.
God. You got to be responsible, Rio. You can't just be saying things.
Yeah, I'm the smarty.
Okay.
I'm the smarty.
So there are some safety precautions. So we didn't necessarily have a successful dive there. Your ears started hurting. We called it. We talked to the instructor. We're like, hey, we're gonna call it there. But overall, it was an amazing dive. We drove for like 30 minutes. You mastered a bunch of skills. We had an amazing time. We called it. We went back, took the gear out, and we called it a day, which is awesome. So what I want you to do is I want you to do a buddy check, and then we'll do that second. But first, I want you to set up your gear, walk us through how you set up your gear, the steps to set up your gear, and then after that, I think we have a good episode. I think we can call it. So I will take a break right now. I'm gonna bring the gear. We're gonna get back to you. So welcome back. So we have the gear. We have my gear. And we have Rio's gear. Rio's gear is not set up as of right now because she's going to walk us through how she usually sets up her gear. Mine is already going to be set up. She's going to do a buddy check. The goal of this, there may be things that we miss here and there that she's learning. So I want to make sure she does her a good job. And then we'll go from there. So Rio, you might, as you're explaining things, you might not have like the mic in front of you. You might not have the headphones with you. So as you're explaining things, if I feel like we can't hear you, I'll repeat what you're saying. Okay. So let's walk through what it looks like, and then you can go ahead and show us. So what is the first thing when you're setting up your gear as a diver? What is the first thing that you're going to grab, and what is the first thing that you're going to look for?
So the first thing that you're going to grab and look for is your tank and your BCD.
Okay. So what are things that you look? So let's say you said the tank. What are things that you're gonna look for in a tank to make sure that you're good?
So you're gonna look for the cap of the tank. Let me show you guys the cap.
Okay.
That black thing is the cap. So I'm gonna take off.
Yeah, you can leave it off if anything.
So the black thing is a very important thing. The cap does not just hold the air. It is extremely important. Extremely. So if you put that cap back on after you scuba dive, that means that it's full and you can die. You can run out of the air. Just like the death drop. Okay? So whenever after you're doing the dive, you just leave it. You just take it off from your BCD and then just leave the cap where it is.
Yeah. So that's a good explanation. The first thing you're going to do as a diver, you have your gear, you have it all laid out like she has right now. When you're getting your tank, she's totally right. The first thing you're going to look is the cap. You're going to validate that your tank has that cap. That cap is an indication that your tank is full. Usually divers, if they see a tank that does not have a cap, the cap is off, it is a visual indication that that tank has been used and is not full. Although you have the cap on, you still are going to validate it within your checks. But the first indication of a full tank is going to be the tank. That's going to be the cap. That's a very, very important step. All right, Rio, what's next? So she's pointing to the straps right now. Yep.
Are the most important straps on the BCD.
Okay.
So the BCD, those straps make the BCD go onto the tank. I'ma show you how. Okay. So what you're gonna want to do is take the BCD, put the strap over it. Take this one, and then you push it down. You have to push it good enough. You have to push it far enough to block that part because that can also can.
Okay, so what you're saying is that just stand right here. That way they can see. What you're saying is that the straps are very important. You're going to use the strap. You're going to put those strap over the tank. There's one thing that you have not identified, and it's because you still have the cap on.
Oh
Yeah. But once you got the cap, there's one more step that you're going to do, and hopefully you get to pinpoint it. So let's take the cap off.
Okay, guys. So we're gonna take the cap off, and we're gonna put these tentacles. I'm gonna call them tentacles.
What is it called?
A regulator.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's give them the right term.
A naughty reg. Okay. So we take the cap off and then we put this on. Okay. I'll show you how.
Yep. Yeah, just let it be. I can help you.
This is all green.
Okay. So what did you notice here?
So
Give me a second. Has to be this one.
nice.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Don't lift it up. Okay. So now that you have your tank and that you have your BCD and it's connected and you have it facing the right way, what's the next step? What do you have to put on the tank?
Okay, so I have to put.
Talk in the mic real quick. And then you explain it. Yep.
Okay, so I have to put this on the tank, the thing that's facing on the back of the BCD.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes me remember how to put it on is this yellow thing, which is called octopus. It's like an octopus. It runs the
Octo.
octo. But call it octopus because it has tentacles. So if I see it pointing this way, then I put it this way. So I'm about to put it on, and I'm gonna show you how.
Okay, so I'm gonna just help her out a little bit. All right, now that it's placed, you're just gonna turn it a little bit. You don't have to turn it, but you just do it a little bit. You don't have to tighten it all the way because when you turn on the air, the pressure of the tank and the pressure of the seal, it's going to essentially compress and it's going to be tight. So you don't necessarily have to go in and tighten it all the way because it's going to be overkill. And then when you're trying to take it off, it's going to be unbearable. Now that you have the regulator connected to the actual tank, what is the next step? What is the next step you're going to do? What do you need to connect?
Okay, so what I need to connect is the octopus.
Yeah, the octo.
So this yellow thing is a click from the octo. This is a backup.
Okay, so you're going to click the octo.
Click it on this little option.
That's actually really tough. It's been, yeah. There you go. Okay. So you put it to the side. That way you don't have to do it. You can do it only on one for now. Yep. So we'll essentially wrap it there. And then what else do you do? What else do you have to connect?
After we do that, then, oh wait, where is it? Okay. We have to take this guy, and then this connects it to the air. So this is over here, and this is where the air comes out. It's a little tube, and this is what almost killed me. Okay, so I press this, and it makes you go up. If I press this, then it makes me no. If I press this, then it makes me go up. If I press this, then it makes me go down.
Yep. So what she's explaining right now is that she's going to connect the actual tank and the regulator to the BCD, and that's how she does it right now. So what she's going to do is she's going to pinch out, and she's going to put it in. Yep, always pinch out. It could be tricky, but once you have it, you have it. So you just pinch out and then put it in. It could be a little tricky at first, but once you have it, you have it. And then that's essentially what she explains is that that device that she has in her hand, that allows her to fill the tank and release the air from the tank. So now that she has it connected to the BCD, The regulator's connected to the tank. She has her octo to the side, and now everything's connected. Now she can do what? What can you do now?
So on this side,
So on this side, you have what?
this time the air thingy. So the air thingy, it goes to 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 oxygen.
Yep.
So, and this is how much feet you have, and this is a compass.
So in there, you can actually see the depth. You can see the amount of oxygen or PSI that you have in your tank. She's essentially showing you what it looks like. Once you check and see, make sure it's empty. Now it's where the magic happens. So what do you do now?
So I can't really turn it because this is like really big. But if you see under this dot, there is this black thing. So if I twist this, it turns on the tank. So if you look at this, then you'll see that move.
I can help you.
Okay.
You might have a naughty ring. Oh, okay, that's good.
Okay. So it's
You didn't have a naughty rig. Okay, so the tank is open. What do you do?
so then we see the PSI. Right?
Yep.
It's done.
It's quick.
How much PSI do you have?
I have 3,000.
You have so
It's really good PSI.
so you have 3,000 PSI. That's really good.
And 3,000 is a lot of oxygen.
Yep, it's
For scuba diving.
Yep. It's a lot of oxygen that you would use for scuba diving. Now that you know that you have PSI, the tank is working, what other checks do you do as you're setting up?
So what other checks that I'm doing? Frankly. First, these two. So I've already scuba dived before, so these are officially mine, and I can be the only one that puts my dog on it, except my buddy, which is Cat. She has not tried it, or him.
P. Why am I P?
Because you want to Bob.
Oh, Poppy. P. Oh, I like that. Okay.
So, and it also runs with P. Okay, so this black one is the official one. Like this is the one that you use.
Yep, that is your official. The black one that's actually very important. The black one is your actual regulator. That is yours to use. And then the yellow one is what?
Is the backup. So
It's the backup.
for
Any emergency, you would give it to your another person, your buddy, or somebody in distress. So what are you gonna check right now?
So what I check is my air. So this is an extreme important. So I have to check this. If you do not check your air for this or for this, you can die immediately. Just like you talked about.
Everything's dying with you. I mean, I guess. You know, you go whoop, you don't have air, whatever. That's cool. But anyways, how do you check it? So you won't die.
Do it.
Okay, so you check, you put it in your mouth, and you
If
check.
that one's good and you don't check this one, then someone else can die.
Oh my God, Rio.
So let's try this one out.
Okay. So one of the methods that she does for breathing, and it's because she wants to understand and she wants to know that it actually breathes to her capacity. Some of the regulators have a dial where it releases a little bit of air or a lot of air. So it is good practice for you to just put that in, make sure that you're breathing. Another way that you could check it is by just letting the oxygen out and just to validate that it's working. A lot of people do that. They just go ahead and check it. I recommend, especially she's my daughter, so I want to make sure that she's safe, to put the reg in, make sure that she's able to breathe correctly, just in case the dial moved and she's not underwater and now she's seeing that, freaking out that she's not getting air. It is a good check for her to do. I prefer her to do it outside of the water to make sure that nothing changed within that dial. What other things would you check once the air is, essentially connected?
This can also make you die.
Oh my God.
This almost made me die. So let's talk about this. This inflates it, so you'll see
Yep.
this to inflate.
Yeah. So now she's going to inflate the BCD, make sure that it retains air, make sure everything's good. Watch out for sounds to make sure if there's any leaks or anything like that. Just a disclaimer, if you fill the BCD too much, it does have an escape where the air goes out. So can you do that real quick? Yeah. And it starts farting or whatever. And the air just goes out. It's a safety mechanism so that you don't essentially pop it. And so how would you let it out?
So you let it out like this.
Yeah.
This button almost every time.
So we don't have weights right now. Where would your weights be in your BCD?
For mine, this is different. So for mine, I have mine over here in this little bucket.
Yeah.
It has to be like secret and secure because there are some smart animals like octopus that can take out your weights, and if you don't have this on,
Mhm.
if you don't have your tank on apparently, and they drag you down, you can die.
Yep.
So it's like this, but it also has to have a little hole and a little bit of space, so that if anything does happen to you, we can take them out, and then you don't die.
Yep. So what she's explained, she in her model, she'll put the weights in these pockets and she'll have the two weights in there. In the case of emergency where she needs to let go of the weights, essentially she'll take the weights out and then essentially will allow it to go up. There are times where as in diving, you may need to release, you may need to let go of that weight. And that is a perfect understand. Like it is a good practice for you to understand where the weights are because in the event of emergency, you may need a bail and it's pretty easy. So now that you did that, that's 100% correct. You did it. And you did all the steps. Let's do one thing. I want you to go to the mic real quick and I want you to put your headphones in. I can do this. I can walk through it real quick. Let's do the buddy check. We can probably do this a lot faster than what the setup was because I'm already set up. You're just going to dictate to me as my buddy to see what things do you check when I say that I am done and I want you to check my gear. So I'm going to move your gear to the side. I'm going to move on over here and I want you to walk me through, hey, the things that you check as a buddy so that, all right, cool. So I have my tank over here. We're back. I have my tank over here. I'm going to turn it on. Everything's connected. Yep. All right, cool. So I'm going to turn on my air.
It's being a naughty rag.
We got a naughty rag. We got a naughty rag. Naughty rag. Naughty rag.
Okay, so you have to slap a naughty rag. So if you turn it on, usually this happens in water. So if you turn your tank on and it starts bubbling really fast and it's uncontrollable, you take that rag and you slap it. You slap it in the mouth. For his, it was his octo, right?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, his octo. And his octo was green, so he had to slap it in the mouth.
Naughty rag.
So now check your octos.
Okay.
I mean, your octo and your regulator.
I'm going to check my octo, my regulator. Naughty rag again. So this is the other way of checking it. You can just go like that, make sure that it's fine. I usually dive with
He
this.
will survive.
I usually dive with this, so usually I know the configuration. And mine's kind of tricky to change, so it doesn't necessarily change often. So now that I checked my regulator, what do I check next, Rio?
Okay, so what you check next is your. I just burped. And is your PCD.
Your BCD.
BCD. Yeah.
So I'm going to check and see that I have air on my BCD. So I'm going to inflate it. It looks nice and inflated. I'm going to deflate it. Yes. Okay. I've checked my reg. I've checked that the tank is connected. I've checked that I have BCD. It's connected. It has air. What else do I have to check?
So what else you have to check is your. I forgot the name. It starts with a P. It is.
The pressure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have to check the pressure. How much pressure I have in my tank, or how much. Yep.
Okay. So how much do you have?
So I have 2,500
Okay.
psi.
Okay, you're gonna die.
You're not gonna die.
You're gonna die. If you want to do it for 20 minutes, then you're not gonna die.
Dude, I can last like over an hour with like less than that.
It doesn't matter. 500? Are you sure? 500?
No, not it's 2,500. Like literally, I can be down in like for over an hour, and I won't go even.
You're still gonna die.
I'll come back with like 17, 18 psi. Like it's wild. Once you get comfortable, you don't spend any airs. This is a lot of air for an experienced diver. Okay, so I have 25 psi. I validated that I have air. I validated my regs. I validated that my BCD is there. I checked just to see, make sure I don't hear any fussiness in the BCD. There's one last thing that we usually check.
And that is drumroll. Yeah.
Yep, my weights. So where would I check? So my BCD is different than Rio's. Rio's only have 2 pockets. Where do I check mine?
So he has, I believe, 4 pockets since he is like really strong and big. People say that he's strong and big, but he's not. And so he has 2 on the back, which I can see right now.
Yep. Right here, the back. There's 2 pockets
and then
in the
there's
back.
2 on the front. I'm going to go show you that.
Yep. So there are 2 in the fronts. And mine is different than Rio's because mine actually have some pockets that actually go out, like some compartments that go out. You don't have to take it out for this example. But essentially, they're over here, and you can unclip them. And essentially, that's meant for cases of emergency. If you're underwater and something goes wrong and you need to let go of the weights to go up, you can let go of the weights properly. Some people like to put it in the zippers. There's some cases where that can come in handy, but usually the best practice if you have those clips is to put it in the clips. In case of emergency, you can let go and go from there. But that's perfect. That's a perfect walkthrough, Rio. Thank you. You validated my gear. Now I'm ready to dive. Now I'm ready to go with a giant stride into the water and enjoy. Since you validated that I have I have PSI on my tank, that means that my tank is open and I'm ready to go diving. We went through a lot. There's a lot of information that we went on this episode, and I thank you for doing it. I think you're doing good. You're obviously learning a lot. I'm very, very proud of the work that you're doing. You're very silly today, but it's because you're actually enjoying and loving what you're doing, and that's awesome.
I ate 5 marshmallows. 5.
5. Let's not make that 6, please. But anyways, this is awesome. This is very, very cool. I continue to be very, very proud of the work that you're doing, the effort that you're putting into. I hope you learned on this episode quite a bit. If you're interested in diving, always reach out. You can reach out to us, or you can reach out to Ranger Rick Scuba Adventure. They were kind enough to provide us with the scuba tanks for this episode and make sure that we were properly prepared for being able to do just a quick walkthrough. So I do appreciate them providing some of the tanks so that we could do this episode. And if you're interested in diving, you should hit them up. They're locally in Orlando. They service UCF and many other places. So if you're interested in diving, just make sure to hit them up. I should have the contact information in the bottom. But thank you so much for tuning in, and good job, Rio.
And you will not die in scuba diving.
God.
After all the times I said DEAD.
Oh my goodness. You're wild. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.
6 marshmallows.